Hi everybody. Alright, and we're back. Now we're going to read the story. So turn to page 608 and 609. The name of the story is Ghost Towns of the American West by Raymond Bale. Based on just this picture, what do you think this story is going to be about? Maybe the Wild West? The West when it was young and wild? If you think it, I'll give you a spoiler alert. If you think it's going to be about like, that kind of stuff, it's not. Don't worry about that. It's not. That's not what this means. Let's look at the genre down here. The genre, expository nonfiction. Do you remember last year in 4th grade when we wrote expository, when we did expository writing? We told how to do something. The word, you might not have, it was a long time ago. The word expository means explain or to inform somebody. So what do you think the author's purpose is going to be based on those two words? Inform. Persuade, inform, entertain, or express. Inform. So they are informing us, explaining to us about something. Let's finish reading their ideas about the genre. Expository nonfiction explains a person, thing, or an idea. Notice how the author tries to solve the mysteries surrounding ghost towns. Okay, and the sentence to think about things is, why did busy towns turn into ghost towns? Something to think about. So yeah, like I said, if you were worried about ghosts, it's not. The phrase ghost town means a town that's abandoned. So there's lots of them around this area actually. So there may have been a town that was a really popular place, really full of all kinds of stuff way back when, and now it's an abandoned town. For example, my grandmother, who's not alive anymore, but when she was a girl, she went to church at a place in a town called The Bend. The Bend is near the other town of Sherwood. Sherwood is, I'm pointing that way. It's that way on 127. The folks that come from Paulding, Hadassah, and Jonah, you guys pass through it every day if you take 127. Anyway, on 18 outside Sherwood, there's a suburb there was long ago called The Bend. My grandma used to tell me that after church, she and her friends would walk across the railroad track to the general store or whatever and buy some bubble gum. She told me that one day and I said, The Bend used to be a town? Now it's just a few houses and the church is still there. But there's just a few houses and a railroad track. Like, I did not know that was a town. Another example that I know of is where my parents lived. They lived near this little area called Farmer or Farmer Center. Back in the 1800s, early 1900s, and 30s, 40s, Farmer Center was a pretty decent sized town. They had a school, they had a couple of barber shops, they had a couple of churches, the fire department, houses, all kinds of booming place. Now, if you go there, which you may have driven through it at some point in your life, if you go from Bryan to like Fort Wayne or Hicksville, you've driven through it on 249. Now all that's there's one church, a donut place, the American Legion Hall, that's it is. That's where they sell donuts in the mornings on Thursdays. And the fire department. I did go to school there, but they knocked that down in like 2003, I think. And I don't know when the barbershops left. Oh no, there's never been one there that I know of. So that I've been around for. So yeah, it's like kind of like a ghost town. There's several houses there, but not a lot. Ask your mom or dad or even your grandparents if they know of any ghost towns around where you live. Places that used to be big metropolises, like big booming places, lots of business, and now it's just a few houses and a church or a fire department. I don't know. Hey, folks who live near Kunkel, find out what the story is on Kunkel and let me know. All right, let's get back to our story. Ding! Turn to page 610. We have a picture. Let's read the caption. While its neighbor, Phoenix, flourished, Goldfield, a turn-of-the-century ghost town in Arizona, did so only briefly, and then declined as a mining town. However, the collection of buildings has since been given new life as a ghost town. So everybody just up and left the buildings behind. Based on this picture, though, what we can see so far, it looks like they turned it into like a Slaughter's Village type thing, like a reenacted place. 611. An air of mystery swirls around the ghost towns of the American West. What sad and joyous events happened within the tumble-down walls and on the wind-blown streets? Why did people settle in these lonesome places? Why did they pull up stakes and move away? What went wrong in these towns? Virtually every ghost town has untold stories of people who longed for a chance at a better life. Relics of the past, the towns now stand as evidence of high adventure, hopes of striking it rich, and the sudden loss of fortune, or life. Although ghost towns can be found throughout the world, in the United States they are most often thought of as the mining towns, cowboy towns, and other settlements of the sprawling western frontier. Caption. Most ghost towns were originally mining camps where men sought gold, silver, copper, and other precious metals. Okay, questions. Visualize. Seeing it in your mind. Which details help you visualize a ghost town? So which details out of these first couple paragraphs helped us to picture the mining town? Okay, some ideas could be, I'll pause, could be tumble down walls, wind-blown streets, lonesome places. Okay, another question is, generalize. Woo, that's our skill of the week. What generalization can you make about ghost towns? Based on these few paragraphs that we just read, what can we generalize about the ghost towns so far? What do we know so far? Based on the evidence that they gave us and our prior knowledge. Virtually every ghost town has untold stories of people looking for a better life. So if you went and researched what Kunkel used to be, you would find stories of people looking for whatever they were looking for there when they settled in Kunkel. Or if I went and did more research on Farmer Center or the Bend, I would find evidence of people who came there for some reason and then for another reason they all left. Now I think the story with the Bend is the railroad. So I said that my grandma used to walk across the railroad tracks and the railroad is still there. I would guess that it started as a railroad depot and then maybe they moved the depot out of there. A depot is where you get on and off a train. I think Edgerton has a history of that. Hey Whitney, look that up. Challenge. Okay? Alright, let's go back to the story. Sherwood also was through a railroad, so, you know. Hey Jonah and Hadassah, you should look that up as you're passing through there. Okay, let's turn the page. 612. Ding. Ooh, check it out. Do you guys know what this guy's doing here? This picture, there's no caption. He is panning for gold. Alright, let's read here. 612. Most were once mining camps where adventurous men came to seek their fortunes. These communities boomed as miners sought gold, silver, copper, and other precious minerals, but died out when all of the ore was panned from the streams or blasted from rocky tunnels. In cowboy towns, cattle were driven to other towns and then shipped to markets in the east. Many lumber camps in deep forest and farming communities on the broad prairies also enjoyed brief prosperity before they were abandoned. Along with the miners, cowboys and farmers, merchants and bankers, as well as doctors and school teachers also went west. So, yeah, people, when they're going for something, it's like, oh, gold is discovered in California. Everybody had, not everybody, that's a faulty generalization there. Many people went west looking to get rich, and with them they take their wives. If men are going west, maybe they'll take their wife and their kids with them. And well, if you're taking kids, you got to take a doctor in case they get sick. Well, everybody could get sick, and you're going to need to take a school teacher or 3 or 4 to teach those kids, and you're going to need to take a preacher to keep everybody's souls under control. So, yeah, that's how that happens over there. But then, when the gold runs out, they get all the gold they want, they might stay, or they might move on. And if a bunch of people move on, then the town becomes abandoned. Think the first cars. All right, where were we here? Oh, we already answered that one. Alright, we're beside the 3, but do you guys have a 3? I think that's just me. Sorry. We're in the middle of this paragraph. They laid out streets. You see that part? They laid out streets. They laid out streets and put up buildings in hopes of growth and prosperity. As one newspaper editor declared, most folks wish to get rich if we can. In 1848, James W. Marshall discovered gold at Sutter's Mill when he shut down the water of the mill race and glanced into the ditch. So he's just doing his thing and happened to look down and woo, there's gold. I reached my hand down and picked it up. It made my heart thump, for I felt certain it was gold, he recalled. Soon the word was out. Gold, gold, gold from the American River, shouted Sam Brannan, waving a bottle of gold dust as he strode through the San Francisco streets, seeking pay dirt. 49ers, as the prospectors came to be known, streamed into California in the first of the great American gold rushes. Now, those of you who follow football, you may have heard of the 49ers. What's the other half of them? Where are they from? San Francisco. That's where they get that name from. Since gold was discovered in San Francisco in 1849, bazillions of people headed out west to California in 1849 looking for gold, and they became known as the 49ers. So that's why the football team is the San Francisco 49ers, also why they wear gold. Fun facts, huh? Okay. Also, hey, here's another football fact. The Baltimore Ravens. They're based off of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. Yeah, true. Alright, their mascot is also named after Edgar Allan Poe, because Poe was from Baltimore. Cool. Oh. Alright, let's go back to this. Yet over time, people came to refer to the sawmill as Sutter's Folly, as the land of John Sutter was overrun, or too many, prospectors. Everywhere men claimed squatters' rights, in which they settled on land without paying for it. It's like, oh, no one's here, so it's mine now. And anybody else, they could just get over it. So that's called being a squatter, and it's like totally uncool. You can't just claim something. Towns, it's kind of like finders keepers, but nobody likes that. It's not fair. Especially if perhaps your land was owned, that land was, you know, part of the group of people who are already there, like Native Americans. Yeah. Alright, here we go. This column. Towns sprung up overnight. Charles P. Gillespie, a miner who worked near Columbia, California, described the typical main streets of these towns as alive with crowds. To him, the miners were ragged, dirty men who were otherwise good-natured. They were a mix of Americans and immigrants, Germans, French, and other Europeans. Hey, not cool to cut the percentage off mid-word there. And gold seekers from China and Chile, along with British convicts from Australia. Alright, hold on. Let's ask the question here. Compare and contrast. The settlers in this selection left their homes and headed west in hopes of becoming rich. Can you think of another group who did something similar? So, people left their homes and traveled to find a better way of life. Can we think of another group of people who did that in American history? Like everybody? Yeah. That's kind of the American thing. But the first group of people who did that would be the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims left their homes in England in search of a better life in America. And then if you study any group of people through history coming to America, they would be doing the same thing. It's like, you know, the German family left Germany to go to America in search of a better way of life, whether it be 1642, 1842, or 1942 or 2042 in the future. Yeah, that's just what we do. Okay, turning. Oh, picture down here. We've got to look at the picture. There's the picture and the caption. After several hard hours of travel, these trail-weary settlers paused in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. Unhitching their wagon, they watered their livestock, ate a noonday meal, and briefly rested. How do they look in this picture? Not happy. Yes. Do you remember when we read Little House on the Prairie and they're moving in their wagon, and Laura and Mary just sat in the wagon all day and just stared at the grass as they just drove on and on and on and on. There's nothing to look at but grass. Yeah, that's this idea. have, side note, I think